It's beginning to look like good news for Matt Gaetz. Bad news for America. Anyway, career prosecutors have apparently recommended against charging Representative Matt Gaetz in a long-running sex trafficking investigation that he's been facing for over 2 years at this point, telling Justice Department superiors that a conviction is unlikely, in part because of credibility questions with the two central witnesses. Those two witnesses being Gaetz's former friend and ex-tax collector Joel Greenberg, who you've probably heard a lot about, as well as the then underage girl. And so we're gonna give you all of the details that have thus far been released. But if you'd like to save yourself some time, this story, which at its top level is about them not being sure about how these witnesses would do in front of a jury, or once there was like cross-examination, will just be interpreted by all of media as he's innocent. So if you want to save some time, we're gonna just pretend that he's innocent rather than that they're worried about how this might play in court. In any event, the details of the case, in case you've missed that, the 17-year-old at issue in the investigation was on a trip that Gaetz allegedly took to the Bahamas back in 2018, though by that time she was already 18 or older. She's been a central witness in the investigation, but people familiar with the case said she is one of two people whose testimony has issues that veteran prosecutors feel would not pass muster with a jury, which is again not the same thing as those people not thinking that they're telling the truth. There is often a presumption that people talking about their victimization are lying, particularly in America when those people are women. And so, sure, they might be worried about how the girl would be savaged in the press or in the courtroom if they were paying attention to the Amber Heard thing. I would be a little bit worried too. In any event, last year, Greenberg, the ally, pleaded guilty to child trafficking charges as well as other criminal charges. Legal experts said that establishing Greenberg's credibility would be an uphill battle for prosecutors, in part because Greenberg previously admitted to fabricating similar allegations against a political opponent. Of course, in this case, it's not his political opponent, it's his longtime friend and ally. But anyway, while I have other issues that I'm going to express, I want to give the panel a chance to weigh in. What do you think about the fact that at this point, it looks like there will not be charges? There still could be, but it looks like there will not be.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be. Okay, so look, I think that it cuts in both directions. And we gotta be fair and honest about all of this, right? So number one, John's absolutely right. Somebody not pressing charges doesn't mean that that person is quote unquote innocent. For example, Michael Cohen went to jail for paying hush money. His co-conspirator was Donald Trump. Well, they both definitely did it. There's no question about it. It's just that Trump didn't go to jail and wasn't charged, and Michael Cohen was. And it's actually a very similar case. And why? Because one of them is a politician and among the elites, and prosecutors get scared. They're really, really scared of people in the elites. Oh, what if we lose? And what are they scared of? Oh, are they gonna get sent to a gulag? No. They're just scared because they're obsessed with their reputations. But ironically here, they blew it because, and I saw this from CNN, so credit where credit is due. I don't know if it's Ellie or Eli Honig, their legal expert. He made a really good point. And he said, well, they already gave Joel Greenberg, the main co-conspirator in this case, a deal to testify against Gaetz. And now they're saying they're not going to charge press charges on Gaetz because Greenberg is just not reliable enough as a witness. Then what the hell did you give him a deal for? I mean, he confessed to tons of crimes and got a much reduced sentence. I mean, that is an absolute fail on the prosecutor's part because you can't have it both ways. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have given the guy a deal if you're not going to use his testimony. It is horrible, horrible planning. But I will add, guys, he didn't get, whether we like it or not, he didn't get charged with it and he didn't get prosecuted for it. I'm honestly, from my point of view, and I only speak for myself, I'm not saying that I'm never gonna mention that again, but I'm gonna talk about it a lot less because unfortunately it didn't get proven in a court of law and that does matter.
Yeah, definitely it is what you can prove. I mean, that's what a court of law is all about. I wanna go even before we even got to an investigation stage, which is, why would this man take a 17-year-old anywhere? Can we just start at the genesis? He should not be, taking a 17-year-old anywhere. That is the man, wouldn't even be caught up in this mess had he not taken the 17-year-old somewhere without, her parents or a chaperone. Doesn't make sense. So that doesn't add up to me, for me, that is the main problem. Wouldn't even be here but for that.
Yeah, 100%. And we won't get more details, it's looking like, on any of the early information that came out on this. And so we will never know for sure exactly why he sent messages to Greenberg saying hit up blank, the girl, and then sent money to Greenberg. And then the next day Greenberg sent that same amount of money in 3 payments that said tuition, school, and school. Maybe it was for a totally reasonable, innocent purpose. It just looks incredibly suspicious and damning and pervy, but maybe it's nothing. We'll never know because they're not gonna charge him. Again, like I understand what Cenk is saying about, it's going to be less of a topic of conversation. I'm sure that it will be, but it still looks terrible. It still looks, and honestly, like, amongst all of the things that Matt Gaetz has done, I understand that some people might want to or might prefer to focus on other things. The fact that he will potentially in the next couple of years be a willing participant in the destruction of democracy in America. He would totally back another coup. There's a lot of other stuff that's more immediately threatening to America, perhaps. But this stuff also, I mean, there's stuff that looks suspicious. That's all I'm saying. And for some time we've been saying, it's been 2 years now. I don't know when any of you sort of mentally checked out from thinking that this might go somewhere. I mean, they were waiting so long. So I'm not shocked by this. I'm not generally shocked in America where someone with political power is able to do effectively whatever they want. But it is also different than he was proven to be innocent. And that might be my final comment on the matter, but I want to make sure that it gets out there.
Yeah, well, let me go to Killer here, who's watching on Twitch. They wrote in, the bottom line is proof came out that he was looking for a pardon. When you're looking for a pardon, that means you're guilty of a crime. And that is a really good point. I mean, I forgot about that he asked for a pardon from Trump. So at least he thinks he's guilty, okay? And so, look, the QAnon guys are constantly talking about it. I mean, there's this guy in Ohio, we're gonna talk about him later in the program. He's lied about his status as a combat veteran, but he's also a QAnon believer, and he thinks that the country's led by satanic pedophiles, and they're really worried about child sex trafficking. But the hill they're dying on for Matt Gaetz is, she wasn't 17, you don't know, maybe she wasn't 17, maybe she was 18. See, a Republican congressman sleeping with an 18-year-old is awesome, isn't it?
I mean, he's 40 years old, okay? 40 years old, 17, 18, 21, check yourself. And for me as a mother, I think a lot of mothers agree, those are arbitrary numbers. 18 is an arbitrary number that somebody just picked out. 17, 18, 16, not much difference between those ages. He's a grown ass man traveling with a 17-year-old. Makes no sense. To me, it just don't add up. So John, your point, I mean, all the points we're making here make a whole lot of sense. So couldn't prove it in the court of law, didn't go that far. It took too long, John, you're right. That was our clue right then and there, how long it's been taken to investigate that probably nothing was going to come of this. But the bottom line for me, she's 17 years old. He should not be traveling with a damn 17-year-old. Grow up, man.
Yeah.
Look, last 2 things I'll say on this is, if you constantly talking about, well, they didn't get convicted, okay? Well, OJ didn't get convicted either. You're positive he's innocent, right? You're positive. Okay, good. I mean, that's an interesting agreement, right? I'm not saying I agree that OJ's innocent, but it's obvious that they have a double standard. But the standard that's the one that is the most applicable to this story is elites versus non-elites. Not Republicans, Democrats, right wing, left wing, okay? The elites are almost always above the law in America, and that's the most disgusting part.
Yeah, I want to add just one more layer to this, in this being a continuing example of one of the most ridiculous sort of hypocrisies or ironies that's really at the core of the Republican Party of what it means to be a conservative over the past few years is that they have decided that the thing they're gonna be about is save the children. They've taken a rag and they've wiped off QAnon very slightly to clean it up just a little bit. And now it's not QAnon anymore. It's just what they all believe, that Satanists are raping and killing and eating children, and they occupy every position of authority in the Democratic Party, in Hollywood, all of that. And so they really, really care about saving the children, so long as the children are hypothetical, so long as it's not about a particular actual predator. They don't care about that. They we're like a little bit interested in Epstein, but they don't want to think about who he actually hanged out with. Ghislaine Maxwell, you could wish her well, doesn't matter, that's not suspicious. With Matt Gaetz, I mean, come on. Like if there was a Democratic congressman who was even alleged to have done this sort of thing, they'd be losing their minds. But the actual like alleged predators don't care, not interested, not at all. But I'm lied to by, I almost swore, I'm not gonna swear, a pundit I'll say, about crimes against kids happening at a hospital. I don't care if they literally bombed that hospital at that point. It's hypothetical, it's misinformation, it's not actually happening. That's safe to care about. The actual specific thing that involves an actual elite, nope, not worth our time, we're moving on. But the hypothetical stuff, and we'll ignore along the way all of the Republican officials who've gone down over the past few years for spreading child porn online, all that stuff, totally ignored. You never see that making the front page news in Breitbart or anything. It is just such a fake approach. And it's left them in a position, I'm gonna read just one more thing. Donald Trump, I don't know if you know, has been on a tear on Truth Social, bleeding out QAnon memes. There's no vague illusions anymore. He just spreads QAnon memes. And he spread one that has a picture of him holding a baby that says, pain is coming. You should have stayed away from the children, hashtag save our children. So now explicitly saying all this stuff about pedophiles is true. And now pain is coming. I'm going to hurt you as a result of this. Get the Matt Gaetz, not important. We're not focusing on it. Vague stuff that justifies political violence.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, that's such a dumb meme. It makes it look like Trump's about to cause pain to the baby. But that's never, being dumb has never stopped Donald Trump before, and being hypocrites has never stopped the right wing. We just, look, guys, the reason we keep repeating it on air and is not because you don't get it. We're super frustrated that the mainstream media and mainstream Democrats don't get it. These guys don't care about the truth or facts or reason or logic at all. So a hypothetical lunatic conspiracy theory against Democrats, all in, only thing I care about. Actual people sleeping with underage girls on your side, couldn't care less. Couldn't care less.
Roy Moore, not interested, doesn't matter. Don't care about it, not interested.
Dennis Hastert. Anyway, I mean,
so much for the party of so much for the party of family values.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to mention one other thing, just because this is a day of news about Matt Gaetz. If we could go to graphic 7, he hasn't, as far as I've seen, really commented on this. Maybe he's saving it for his upcoming Twitch broadcast because he's doing a show. I mean, he does a show. Now it's going to be coming to Twitch as a reminder that these Republican politicians who don't give a damn about what's happening in America, don't care to solve problems. Every single one of them just wants to have a show. All they want to have an audience. They want people to applaud them. That's why Ted Cruz has literally a podcast. That's why Marjorie Greene broadcasts every day. It's just like, resign, go do a show. You could start a podcast, it's free, honestly. And like on Fiverr, you can get some cover art made. It's not difficult. There's no reason for you to be taking up a spot in our government. That's my view.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.